Hey there, first graders. Today, or right now, I'm going to show you how to do the middle ground of our awesome landscapes. So last time, or if you just did your background, we did the background. We let it fully, completely dry so that we can then go in and do the middle ground. For the middle ground, I'm actually going to do what's called a monochromatic scheme, and I'm going to stick with one color and add just a little bit of white to each hill, and see how I'm going to do that. So I have the scooper here, which you'll find in the classroom. You won't find it at your place setting, but I'm only one spot. So I know I'm going to do definitely purple. I want a purple, so I'm going to scoop a purple. And I know I'm going to need a lot of purple because I have to do a lot of hills. So I'm going to scoop a purple, and I think I'll do that as my middle hill that I have in my one, and then I have a further away one which I'm going to create by making a darker purple. So I'm putting a little purple in here, and then I'm actually going to add a little bit of, I actually want to do a tone of purple, which is a little, when you mix color with gray, and to make gray you just need a little bit of black and a little bit of white. So I'm going to add those three colors together. And then the one in front, I think I'm going to make it a tint of purple, which is adding white. So I'm going to have purple and some white. Running low on this white, gotta fill it back up. All right, and there's that. Gonna bring this away so that we can then bring in my artwork. Got my colors ready. Going to grab, for this one I'm doing some big area and also some small area, like this is pretty small. So I'm actually gonna grab both square brushes, a large square and a small square, and I will mix on the backs, again with our plastic tip. I'm gonna mix our colors. So I'm making my tone purple. There we go, look at that. Ooh, yes, perfect. And since I have some paint on the edge, I'm gonna scrape this off. Clean it in my dirty cup. Pat it and roll it on my sponge. I'm gonna mix up my tint of purple. Yes, I'm so excited. I love when I see the colors coming out the way. I really like them too. All right. And I think this will look really nice with my magenta sky. All right. So I'm gonna start, again, we did the background, but now my middle ground is made up of three parts. If your middle ground is one whole layer, just go ahead and paint it like you did with the background. But the middle ground, I'm actually gonna paint what is furthest in the middle ground. Again, we always start as far away from the person standing in the picture as possible. And that's where I'm gonna do my gray hill, or my tone hill, excuse me. And again, I know where my trees are supposed to go, so I'm going to paint right where the hill goes. Going along the edges. I'm gonna get my brush just a little bit wet. I realized I just stuck it in. It was kind of doing it with a dry brush. Oh, there we go. Much better. Goes on a little bit smoother. Moves the paint a little bit better when the brush is wet with tempera paint. My hill goes right off the paper, so I'm going right off the paper with it. And see how, like, so these rough lines show up because there's not much paint on, right? And so I had that at the edge, and I didn't want that at the edge of my hill, so I painted over again slowly and smoothly, so it kind of creates a smooth edge instead of a rough edge. Okay. And I've got plenty of paint in here to really do a couple coats of it so it's a nice solid color. There we go. Look at that. Perfect. And then I'm going to wash this brush in the cup, swirling it around painting the sides of the cup and patting it on the sponge. And I'm going to put this one off to the side because I don't need it right anymore. I'm going to use the big one to get these big hills. And this is where I'm going to do the actual hue of purple that comes straight from the paint cup. I'm going to go right in, start painting it. Ooh, look at that, right up against that magenta color. Creating a very monochromatic color right now, which I'm okay with. Monochromatic is when you use more, just like one color really, to paint a whole piece, and I'm kind of doing that right now, really. And see how like that line shows up? It's kind of rough here. Let me bring you in for a second. See how there's this rough edge right here? If you want that in your piece, that's okay, go for it. But I like my hills to look smooth, so I'm going to paint over it. I'm putting my brush up on its tippy toes instead of on its side to create a nice smooth line, and then I'll go back on to the sides, and that creates a nice smooth line where I want my hill. So I'm doing that again, and I'm going to bring you out because you're too close. Oop, wrong way. So just on the tippy toes again, dragging it down. And there we go. And start dipping it in. Just painting, filling it up. Get really quiet when I'm focusing. Really making sure I stay just on my hill. If I go over my foreground line a little bit or my next hill line, that's okay. Because what's nice about like with tempera paints or even like acrylic paints or oil paints is you can just layer them over each other and you won't really see it. Unlike our watercolors, where watercolors, when you paint on top of them, they mix really well, which is one of the really cool things about it. And so I can see some of my brush strokes, so I'm kind of just trying to go over them with the paint again and trying to kind of follow my hill line instead of making them looking like they're all going all over the place to make it, I don't know, it just, craftsmanship makes it look nicer and smoother if the paint strokes aren't really shown very much, unless you're going for that style. Alright, and now I need to do my last little bush, which I'll get by washing my brush. I'm going to use the big brush again because this is a pretty big hill. And I'm going to pat it dry, grab some tempera paint, and start painting. Again, I go right on my tippy toes, not on the side of the brush, tippy toes, to create the line of the hill. And then painting the inside. Tippy toe, and it might mix a little bit with this purple hill I just painted because that hill is still wet, which is okay. It might make a cool color. There we go. So I chose these colors just because, actually, I think it's just because I really have been really into these colors lately, so I kind of just wanted to paint with them. They're not like really my favorite colors or anything. I'm gonna wet my brush because I'm running low on paint and I need to spread this paint a little bit more. But lately I've just been really into these colors. I have them in the room. I have them in my own artwork at home. I have them in this artwork right here. Just kind of like them lately. They're kind of calming for me. And if this is going to be my home planet, I want them to have calming colors, make me feel comfortable. All right, just like our background, we now have to wait for the middle ground to dry. So we'll wash our paintbrushes, wash our palettes, and we'll wait for it to be fully dry to move on to the foreground. So I'll see you when we do that.